Today, yes today, we find ourselves all equally blessed on this journey through greater and lesser evils. Join us as we explore the hard realities and uncomfortable truths plaguing our society. So without any further ado, let's jump right in and rip this bandit off together. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Greater and Lesser Evils. I'm here with my brothers Xavier and Tank. Say a word, gentlemen. How we doing today?
So what's up?
Doing good.
All right, everyone gets caught us on our first episode today. If you're not familiar with what we're doing, we're taking the modern, amazing portions of cinema, comparing to real life, making it fun, bringing you into our life, making you feel part of our family. How do you guys feel about today?
Well, I just woke up. So, what are we doing?
We'll just follow some random script and maybe we'll get there, right?
Okay.
Sounds good. We'll do that.
No, I like drawing parallels out of Hollywood. You know, they think there are new after school specials. So everything that they're doing, it seems like lately draws to one issue in real life. You know, blending fantasy into reality. You know, it's no longer just entertainment if you're watching closely at what Hollywood is doing with some of these movies, like the one you're about to introduce.
That's true. I mean, like you said, we get angry every time we go to the movie theaters. We get angry when we sit there and we have that car ride home where we're just stewing, talking about stuff. And actually, the resonation of this, and the reason why we did this whole show is so you guys can get that inner feeling. We can talk about some serious topics. We can enjoy each other. We can go at the end of the day. So...
all right.
Let's do it.
All right. So the first movie we're going to talk about is Poor Things. Some background data information on Poor Things.
I think you're saying that wrong. It's Porn Things.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
I got that
That's
feeling.
what I found about that movie. It was more. I thought it was Porn Things.
I will say this on a spoiler: the only thing lacking is you didn't get to see Mark Ruffalo's long. Woo!
Well, I don't need to see that.
It was the only thing you didn't see. But anyway, so it's starring Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, and Willem Dafoe. Directed by, and I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name, brother, Yorgos Lanthimos. I looked you up, and I really haven't seen anything you've done, but dude, you knocked this out of the park. So
this was spectacular, honestly.
Written by Tony McNamara and Alysadar Gray. The box office, we got $100 million for a serious movie.
Wait. This is in the box office?
Yeah.
I watched this on Pornhub.
So you remember those old school...
I literally pulled this up on Pornhub. I had no idea this was a mainstream movie. I only got to watch about 6 minutes of Emma Stone doing stuff.
I mean, I'm not going to judge.
How did it end? You guys are going to have to tell me how it ended.
Yeah, let's keep.
You trying to keep us on track?
Just keep it on track.
You're going to be the one that keeps us on track.
Yeah, let's keep it on track.
All right, so be it.
It's not on Pornhub. It's a mainstream movie.
Do not go to Pornhub to click this. All right, so $100 million in the box office off a $35 million budget.
Wow.
So I mean, he killed it. I mean,
and it's still going strong.
And wow, 11 Oscars. I'm gonna list them all. If I stop breathing and die, just keep going.
She's nominated for 11 Oscars.
Yeah, Best Picture, Best Actress,
Best Actress,
Best Actor. Sure. So you know what's funny is they considered Mark Ruffalo a lead in this movie, which is interesting because some of these movies we watch, the main male character ends up being the supporting. I wouldn't have been surprised if he would have been Best Supporting Actor, to be honest with you. Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Editing, Best Production, Best Everything, Best Costume, Best Score, Best Makeup and Hair.
Yeah, and all kidding aside, in reference to Emma Stone, I got to be honest with you, I've never really liked anything that she's ever done until this movie, honestly, because when I saw her in this movie, I saw her character, and I think that's why actors do the things that they do, and it's to get you to, if they're doing a great job, you forget that it's that person and you're just seeing that character. And all I saw was this simple, like the infant brain, and as it continued to evolve and make her way through society on her own terms, I thought was absolutely spectacular from start to finish. You know, the way that she moved at the beginning versus the way that she moved at the end.
We'll touch on that terrific. As we go forward. I think you're 100%. I agree with there. What do you got?
Are we gonna?
We are, but we're gonna double. It's the same thing. Like anytime we have a conversation,
Okay.
we're gonna double
All right.
back. We're gonna go over. We're gonna jump over some woods. We're gonna ask the grandma for an apple pie, and then go sit there and have a beer.
Okay. All right. Well, I agree with Frank.
Frank,
I thought it was.
you can agree with Frank.
Okay,
All right, we're agreeing with
Frank the Tank.
All right,
I'm agreeing with Frank the Tank.
Frank the
I'm
Tank.
saying-
the freaking tank.
I'm agreeing with Frank the Tank.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that it is very easily to forget about her, even though she actually has a current show that's going on Showtime right now. And
What's that show?
that's the thing. See how you just forget?
No, I mean, I'm asking.
First,
And
my entire-
that's kind of
and
the
that's my
thing for me
entire
with
point.
Emma Stone is
And that's the
there's a
exact-
lot of
yeah.
forgettable things.
It's a lot of. It's easy
And you
to
go,
forget.
oh, I've seen her in something or whatnot.
Exactly. And that's
but if
what I mean.
somebody asked me about
Yeah.
Poor Things specifically, I'd be like, oh my God, Emma Stone
And that would be
was
it.
spectacular.
That's what I'm saying. That,
Yeah.
that would be it right
You know,
there. It's so easy to forget about her, and then you see this movie and go, okay, I can see that she had a heavy hand in like this movie.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
I
Like she
think
had a heavy
so.
hand in this movie. I think.
You know, it's so much more than just showing skin, which was actually very relevant to the material and the things that she did. And sometimes you do see an actress in Hollywood that goes completely, close completely off, no holds barred. Oh, she's got to get an Oscar. It's just like Halle Berry in Monster.
Right.
If you can pretend it feels good to have sex with Billy Bob Thornton,
Yeah.
then you deserve an Oscar.
Yeah.
And here's Emma Stone
Yeah.
actually doing something where it felt raw. It felt compelling. It felt I was so honestly moved, to the point of like being a fly on the wall and like, oh my God, what's going to happen next in this movie? I was literally, for a movie that's not a thriller,
Right.
on the edge of my seat to see how her character continued to grow.
Right. Right.
When you don't have a lot of time in a 2-hour movie, to move these
And it
things
didn't even feel
forward.
like 2 hours,
It
right?
really didn't. It
I mean,
felt
look,
like
I
a
took
blink.
notes the entire time, and I felt
Yeah.
bad for who I watched it with. But I mean, it didn't feel like a 2-hour
It was-
movie to me.
Right.
Thoroughly impressed.
Yeah.
And I know that's a big thing for you, that the runtime and everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah,
with
because
that,
most
so.
movies, the modern movies now, like they can't do an under 2-hour movie. It's
Right.
it's like it's super long
Yeah.
now. But
And every once in a while, they got to break the fourth wall and be like, "Now remember, from
Right.
Act 1, I said this." And I'm like, no, the audience isn't stupid, guys.
yeah, yeah,
That's fair.
That's facts.
That is facts. All right, so let's get back more into it. Let's talk about Poor Things. So, when we start the movie, I understand that we're coming to a whole new era here, where every production studio wants the coolest and the most updated looking intros, and they want animatronics, animation, what the fuck, or the F you want to call that stuff. But I don't understand the need for the satin sheets. Did that not bother you? Like I'm watching it, and I'm going, "What?" I was watching like a bad art, like almost like a bad porn film.
And exactly, and I actually think that was kind of the point at the beginning of just trying to appear sort of more like a lower production, giving it to you in more of that raw state. What I actually thought was funnier about the beginning is the warning that says something
Yeah,
about
tobacco.
don't worry about
Smoking tobacco.
right.
Yeah.
This looks like my bed sheets after a
Yeah,
bad
no,
night.
I see it. Yeah, but I think it was more just to give you something simple.
Oh, well, this is an art house movie.
Yeah.
Like this is an independent movie. This was never a mainstream movie.
Right.
It's an art house movie.
They made
So-
real money.
Yeah, but the point is like,
Good
but
point.
you can tell just from like say the budget was only $35 million. Not saying like for us that's
Yeah.
like a lot of money, but for
Yeah.
most movies now going $300 million to start off
Yep.
with, right? That's like a normal Hollywood movie now. So $35 million technically is a independent
Yeah.
film these days.
Well,
And
sometimes like this kind of thing is lost on me. If I was supposed to feel
Right.
something,
Right.
all I honestly saw was just a very simple background that they were using as a backdrop.
Right.
I didn't feel like this was a women's empowerment, undertone.
Yeah, I think it was just meant to be. I call it something special, and that's what the whole concept of. Like a lot of this movie feels as though is personal, like
Fair.
very personal, and it came from someone's experience or some. I call it like I'm calling not experience per
Are you
se.
Frankenstein? Do you want to admit something on
that's what I'm
live on
saying.
air right
and
now?
that's my yeah. And my whole point is like
They did a good job. Don't get me wrong. If you're Frankenstein, brother, we're good. Like, look, I'm going to go ask him for the touch up later on.
No, and that's my point. Is that like it's just is a lot of this movie is supposed to be intimate, and that's the whole. I believe that's what the point of this is. It's to give the feeling of. It's a bespoke experience is the best way to put it.
Bespoke?
Yeah, bespoke experience. And that's why I say, like, none of it, we look at it as like, this is just whatever. But I don't think the movie, you can tell this movie technically wasn't made for us, as in the general audience. It's made for, like, other film watchers to watch this movie.
Do you think that you're actually saying that? Go ahead.
Like Cannes Film Festival?
Exactly, something like that.
Yeah,
Cannes.
Cannes.
I thought the S was silent.
It's Cannes.
It's like a visa.
It's just like the apostrophe S on Cannes. Remember, I'm from the hood, homie.
Exactly. And that's the whole point.
I'm not sophisticated.
Yeah.
Anything more than chili dogs is fancy to me.
Exactly. That's the whole point. I believe, like, this seems to be, that's why I call it, like, this is an intimate thing where you feel as though this is premium, as I call it. Yeah,
Silk
art
satin.
house. Yeah, it's art house.
Yeah,
what I put
that's
it,
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, so we go from silk and satin, and we go to instantaneous death scene. We don't know who's dying. You don't know who it is. You get to see Emma Stone's face. Again, her face is intense the entire way. You don't get to see the drop, which I'm good. I mean, I honestly, at our age, I'm sick of actually seeing violence on TV. I'm getting to the point now that violence that doesn't make sense for the plot of the movie. Now, we're not talking like an Arnold's 80s movie where he's shooting people, and obviously they're not really shooting people. We're talking about violence that inspires other violence. That's where I get. Suicide's one of those big things that seems contagious to me. Am I wrong? We have a huge epidemic.
I think more than ever, when numbers do seem to point that all of those, really tough topics to talk about are on the rise.
Exactly.
And opening a scene, with what appears to be suicide.
Exactly.
Definitely really does hit home. And I think, there's a lot that you're holding on to right here. Like when she died, it doesn't look like, she's trying out for the Olympics here.
Exactly.
This really does feel like
she did stick the landing, though. She did
unfortunately stick the landing. She got it. If that's what she was going for, she got it right on the first time. And that is really, really gritty, and I think even in the cinematography, it really does show through the blues that they use.
Exactly.
You can really feel, if colors are going to help you feel that situation, I think you felt it there.
And I think you do. I mean, like just that intense, like you're talking, that intense blue, and then into the black and the white and the hues with everything, and just cutting in. You have no idea what's going on right now, and it's great. It's one of those scenes that rarely do you see opening scenes set up a movie so well. And I think they did it well. And then you get Willem Dafoe comes in the screen, and this dude, I'm telling you, he's like the poster boy for stalkers, creepers, dirty old uncles, and people that like necrophilia, have people like to do dead bodies and stuff. I mean,
his makeup is incredible in this. But, he already kind of has a weird face anyway, so it's not like they really had to do much other than just shadow him from a different angle, I suppose.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, so what I was compelled on the entire time, we can talk about this later too, if he was actually Frankenstein. Like,
if he were...
No, I actually think he is. Think about him. Now, he talks about his father. His father made him a eunuch. His father did all that things to him. Now... He doesn't talk about being born. He doesn't talk about a mother.
Sure. So you think this might be a preface to like the reverse Frankenstein story of Frankenstein actually moved forward from that childlike thing, and he actually read a book, and now he thinks he's a surgeon.
Yeah, maybe.
And here we go.
I can understand it to be like an alternate universe version of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
The multiverse version. Yeah. But this version, he grew up. Because I want to say that because.
Go ahead.
That would mean he would be, because Frankenstein technically is mortal, right? Because he's already dead. But that was the whole concept of...
But he's not, because the electric waves brought his body back to life.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But remember...
Well, just like milk, though, I think, you may be immortal, but like all that skin has an expiration date. Exactly, it already smells bad.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so that's what I'm going, like, I agree with you on that. That's what but every now and then, you get a little, like, I don't know, but...
Yeah.
It was just
I
one
can
of
see
those
that, yeah.
over, like even us having this conversation, it's not even my notes. It's something that popped up while I was thinking about it the entire time. Now, here's my thing. I'm not saying that I have any issues at all, but do you think all the parts of his body are surgically enhanced? Obviously they're not. He's a eunuch. He gave it away. But I'm just saying, what good is it to have all that plastic surgery if Peter North isn't between my legs?
No, he's because that's the whole thing is like he's a result of torture from him. He's different. He's not enhanced. He's actually technically been downgraded.
Just put back together.
Yeah, he's been put back together.
Yeah.
Period. So it's a different like thing for him. He's trying to create something that's good, and instead,
whereas on his body, he was just trying to survive.
Exactly.
So the fair, and then you guys, that's a great point. You guys
Surviving
bring up right
versus
there.
living.
True.
I think there's a big difference there.
Yeah, he's just simply surviving.
Yeah,
is the best way to put it.
And he wants, and it really felt to me like he was trying to leave a legacy. You know, which
100%.
which is why I think what was Emma Stone's name? Her character, Bella. Yeah,
It's Bella.
It's a great name.
Bella.
Yeah.
It resonates. It's like an old German,
I think it's Italian for
innocence.
beautiful. I think.
We can look that up.
Yeah.
It's Belle. Yeah, that's it is Bella.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Bella. Yeah, it's Italian.
That's fair.
Yeah. But the same thing, like his name is God.
God,
So
yeah.
that's why she keeps calling him
Oh,
God.
That's why
She
exactly.
constantly saying God. Yeah, the whole time.
Still, if I make someone, they're calling me God. Like, look,
It seemed to be very fitting for the character.
Well, that's what I was saying. So, I was gonna say it's not the same thing how you just said that. Well, that was his whole point because his whole thing was no religion. Remember that? He's no religion. He's pure. He's pure. What do you call it? Like not science. But he's pure rationality.
Why not? Pure science.
No,
That is science. That's the
Right, but
intuitive
pure
nature.
rational.
Yeah, he's just
Purely
rational. That's not because you can't say science is like.
So is he Freud?
No. He's just pure rationality. Like because science is. It's,
So compare him to someone in the
of a
world.
religion
Compare him to someone in the world.
in the world.
Yeah,
There-
rationals, pure rational.
There
Is
is
it like
no
a
one.
Bill Gates. Is
No,
this
no,
like it's not an Elon.
No. So if you was going to rationalize him, he wouldn't be a character that we know in the world today.
He's
He
a
would be a
scientist,
Spock.
but-
He would be like Spock.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Spock
perfect.
is the most. Yeah, he would
Okay.
be Spock because
I'm good
Spock
with
is
that.
all ration.
Okay.
That's it. And
What about
instead-
Einstein?
No.
No.
No, because Einstein is a person. He's a real person, which means he had a lot of flaws, like in the real world. Instead,
It's interesting because
I dig
all
that.
his flaws seem to be physical.
no, his flaws are definitely not physical. Like for instance, right? So it's the same thing. Like he's willing to torture things just to see what happens.
But
Like
in his mind, it's not torture.
No. So that's what I'm saying. So it's not, so in what we consider like so we have to separate between what is when I use the term rational and science, right? Science has no morals. Like rationality has no morals.
But they're built-in morals. Think of like the cloning.
No.
So we're going to talk about the
thought
cloning.
it was-
We built in morals into our society, right?
So
Well,
It's
but
that
that's-
whole the basis of Christian in the U.S. and everything else in the Constitution and stuff.
I'm not. Well, I don't know if those are the parallels that were coming from this. I felt like this was more about like a woman's journey.
No,
No, we're just talking about
you're
the
100% right.
character.
No, this
It
is
is.
no, this
It
is
is.
100%.
All his, but going back to
Just hit it.
God's
We're-
thing, you know,
because look,
I
he doesn't
really
get that
feel-
much scene time anyway.
I feel more like the things that you saw, his creations were more about an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the same thing with Bella's character. You know, she was suicidal and she didn't like her life, and he gave her a second chance through her own life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which you find out later in the movie. Sorry, guys, this is there. If you haven't watched the movie,
This is not a spoiler free.
yeah, this is not spoiler free ever.
All spoiler.
This is all
This is entire
spoilers.
spoiler.
Yeah.
It spoils the minute we start talking.
It's cottage cheese in a hot car. There is no way that you can look at a movie like this without watching it and talking about every aspect because of how brilliant it really was. But that's why I really feel like if you look at the animals, the things that he did,
So we're gonna
with
get into
everything,
that.
I felt
So
like he
let's-
thought
let's-
he was improving.
Right.
Let's switch
the
to
design.
that. If you could compare any animal, or not compare, if you could make any animal in the world right now with any genetics, any spic, what animal do you make? To me, I would make like a chimera looking thing. I want that scale of the scorpion or the snake. It is a scorpion.
Yeah.
Like a snake mouth like a lion body, and I would ride it around like it was my mount, and I would just that would be my boy.
Yeah.
No, this is
sorry.
like a video gamer thing, man.
I'm saying,
I always wanted to make.
First
I'd
off, I
probably
would
just
not
make an army of Xaviers.
Yeah,
Honestly,
like
if you look
first off, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that.
Okay, what animal would you make?
That's what I'm
what
saying.
ultra animal could you make?
That's my point. I wouldn't do that. Like I wouldn't make the animal
Because you have morals?
No, it has nothing to do
Because
with
we're going
morals.
back to that morals thing.
No,
That's
what I'm saying. Like I wouldn't do this with animals to start off with because, I mean, this is. I don't know. Like,
Here's a
I wouldn't
swan
make it
dog.
animal.
We just watched it. The little
Yeah.
swan walking around.
Yeah.
By the way, I hate geese.
Right.
Geese are like my arch enemies
Well, I
in
think,
life.
but geese are everybody's like arch in life. 'Cause
Really?
Geese
Geese are
are.
just
I
jerks.
was-
Yeah,
Oh,
geese
okay.
are legitimate. They're proven to be jerks. Like
Yeah.
no, there's no other put it. Geese are the jerks of the animal world.
Jerks.
That's what they do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's no
I thought
lie.
it was just me.
Yeah.
No, it's everybody.
Okay.
Geese, they
Yeah.
see you walking by, they know you're not bothered, and they will still come and pick
Yeah.
you anyway. They still come running after you. They're the terror of all little kids, like
Yeah.
that are toddlers.
Yep.
They don't care. They don't like anybody. There's a whole episode dedicated to just geese and ducks. You ever watch a regular show? Like the regular show is it's geese, all the jerks of the regular show. And this is the animal kingdom, and everybody's afraid of geese. Think about that for a second.
That's all you need to know.
And yeah, geese are jerks.
Yeah.
Okay, so no geese. You're not
Yeah.
making geese.
No,
what
I'm
are you
not
making,
making
though?
geese,
Give me
yeah,
something.
No,
Give me something.
I'm not making geese. No.
Give me something.
To make an animal.
Yeah. Would you make a swan dog?
No, if you're gonna do something, you gotta do like something. I mean, because the whole point is like, what is the purpose of making this animal? Would it be,
Yeah.
for? I need a
Okay,
purpose.
what's your purpose?
Yeah, you
Give me something.
remember the animal that's on that dude's desk in The Fifth Element that has
Exactly,
the thing?
that's what I'm saying.
I'd probably make
Yeah.
something like that.
That's what I'm saying. That makes sense.
There's Frank.
That makes
Yeah.
sense because it's also
Don't
comfort
steal his,
animal.
though.
Yeah.
Don't
No,
steal.
but that's a comfort. That makes sense. I couldn't think of something like that because all I would think about is destruction. If I came up with an animal, it would be pure destruction.
Yeah.
So King Kong
No,
mixed
no,
with
no.
Godzilla?
Nice.
You don't want to. No, you don't want a King Kong. You want like a bear shark or something, right? Just like I needed to like be able to kick in a door, climb a tree, and be able to
Bear
swim
shark.
as fast as like
be
anything
able
could
to
be.
shoot
So, like,
straight.
shoot straight. That's
Does
right.
it like
yeah.
jump up to its legs
That's
and
my
like,
point, yeah.
like this
That's
and then
my
jumps
point,
the
yeah.
water and then
Yeah.
swims?
Yeah, that's the point. You
I
want-
actually have an image of a bear shark
That's
in
what I'm
my
saying.
head. That's
Yeah,
good.
That's my point. Bear shark. Yeah.
I'm going to steal the bear
Yeah.
shark, man. That was my idea for the
Yeah.
entire thing. So we go through, and when I started watching this, Tropic Thunder popped in my head, and I'm a horrible human being. Let's start with that in the first place. But at first, when watching this movie, the hard R, and I'm not going to say that word. Do you guys know what the hard R means? The hard R word?
Oh, when you
Yeah.
talked about you never go full.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say that word, but I really thought that this was what the movie was going to go to. I didn't see the Frankenstein part, and I didn't watch anything going into it. I was like, don't tell me this is going to be another Sean Penn, Tom Hanks, and this is going to be her. And she did go full hard R word.
Yeah.
It started, and it kind of disturbed me. Just
don't-
like it took me off
I
just a
don't
little
think that
bit.
was. I think the point there was that she has an infant's brain.
But I think you don't get that till
That
later.
she
Like
doesn't-
I knew nothing going into
Well, I
the
mean,
movie.
you see that, she's kind of walking, stiff-legged. You could just tell that there was nothing in between her ears at that time. No intelligence, no anything. And then you watch the exploration of how she, she's learning very quickly, and she evolves obviously into a sex depraved.
Yeah, that's a whole different other monster there in the first place there, but completely. So let's go ahead and let's start with this. We've already talked about clones, and obviously this is a hypothetical situation. Anyone at home, I mean, the whole part is to challenge your mind and to go further past the body. If you were put in a situation like this, and let's not reveal too far what the end of the movie goes with this, you lose a loved one, you have to clone someone, would you do it? Now, you're talking about, we're going to start with Xavier first, because you're talking about morals before. Would your morals stop you from bringing back a loved one, and why?
I don't see the point in bringing them back. It's the same thing. Like if I go, I expect to go.
Yep.
I don't want to be brought back. That's just how it is. And the only reason why I say that is because you can love someone as much as you want, but the problem with cloning, or the problem with bringing someone back from the dead, so to speak, is that to start off with, you don't know what you're getting. Let's start off with, because we may be able to clone the body. That's the fact.
Pet Cemetery.
Go with the
Pet
horror
Cemetery really
movies.
did, yeah.
By the
That's
way,
what-
if we ever do horror
that's the exact
movies,
point.
he's
I'm
going to
the
be
guy.
talking
Yeah.
the entire time,
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah,
love
and-
horror
Like
movies.
no.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and that's the exact point. You don't know what it is you're getting, and on top of that, like a clone is not the life experience that has been built up. So
Sure.
unless you have the exact person with all the memories, everything that went along with it, even if that technology exists, you still won't end up with the same person, because the reason why is because the choices that you make throughout your day, right? They
Right.
still don't define you.
And their life stopped there.
Exactly.
You know, depending on whether they wanted to be brought back or not. Are you now the selfish one? You know, there's
True.
a lot of pieces
And
of
that's my next
humanity.
question.
Exactly.
And I'm going to keep it on you. We're going to go over to Tank here in a second. But is it because of you that you feel that you're doing it, or like Frank said, is there like some emotional level attachment that you're bringing back the other person for them? Maybe they had goals that they hadn't achieved. You know,
Right.
they had goals they hadn't achieved.
Well, that's the whole
something
point.
like that.
And that's the whole point. Is like, if you were to bring someone back, right, that would be a purely selfish thing. There is no selfless like reason to bring a person back from the dead. It is all because you can't let go of said person. It's the idea of, it's almost like you ask yourself the question, why would you want this person around you all the time? It's the same thing with like pets. Whether we want to get into it or not, people have pets to make them feel better about themselves.
I mean, we can get into anything, man. We got all
Yeah.
the time in the world.
Yeah, whether
So,
they're
I mean,
lonely, I mean, you know, you've got Crazy Cat Lady, and you know, there's a lot of reasons to get
Yeah,
a
and-
pet, especially if there's a hole in your life. You know, a lot of
Exactly.
people fill it with a Chihuahua.
And that's
or
what I mean.
something.
It's a Chihuahua, but you ask yourself a question. You start off with like, okay, you want a pet, that's cool. You want like a really cool animal or
Yeah.
dog or cat, whatever the case is, right? You get that one animal. Why do people start getting 3 or 4 more animals after that, though? Right? Because
I
now
have-
the pet.
I
how about
Three dogs and a
tattoos?
cat.
Tattoos are the same
No,
way.
no.
I'm gonna go
No.
that parallel.
Yeah.
I think it's the same. You can't just stop with one.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't stop drinking one
Well,
Monster.
and that's
Monster. If
actually-
you want to sponsor us someday, please do it.
That's actually why I have 4. I have 3 dogs and a cat at home. And because I bought a dog and then I felt like it was lonely,
was
or that
lonely?
it did a really good job, so I needed to buy it a present, which was another dog.
Another dog.
And then I felt like, you know, what if they don't like each other? Then they can beat up the third one, and then the cat.
What do you
So
create?
common enemies,
Exactly.
right?
You have a tank society.
Absolutely.
You created a tank
I
society.
absolutely did. I feel like when they bark, they call me God.
I mean, they better. Look, if
Yeah,
I know you well enough, if your dog
I'm the
can
keeper
talk.
of the
Yeah,
cheese.
I know, right?
You know? So,
Yeah.
you know, they've got to do tricks
They
for
gotta
me.
do it, yeah.
By the
They
way,
gotta
he
do
just
it.
established one of his new nicknames, Tank, the keeper of the cheese.
I don't want to be here anymore.
All right. So, anything else? You want to add anything more to the cloning part before I go over to Tank?
Oh, no, you can go ahead.
All right. So, what do you got, brother?
About what?
Would you do it? Could
No.
you do it?
No, of course not. You know, even if you take the love of my life of 25 years, you know, when it's her time to go, it's her time to go. I would hope that she wouldn't bring me back either. You know, I want that part to be a memory, so I can relive those things, because you know the problem I have is what could happen afterwards. You know, the story was supposed to end at that point, and that's why
True. Should have been the quickest movie in the
and
history.
that's why the
yeah.
passing occurred. You know, at that point. I understand under tragedy, you know, where they were cut too short, you know, but you know when you live to be 96, you're like, oh, it's too soon. I don't think 96 is too soon.
Not too soon.
You know, in a situation like that, I would probably feel much different if it were my son or my daughter. You know, but because I've seen movies like Pet Cemetery, you know, sometimes dead is better, is one of those kind of things. I wouldn't want to bring it back and, you know, see them over top of me with, you know, some takeout, you know, sharpening chopsticks and doing something awful to me, you know, and now I regret that decision. The short answer, though, honestly, is no. I don't want to play God.
Interesting. Is it different for yourselves? If you could bring yourself back, would you?
I'm actually a DNR, so anything more than the Heimlich maneuver, let me go.
Same thing.
Yeah, I'm a do not resuscitate. No extraordinary effort.
Yeah.
Measures can be taken to save my life. When this
Damn.
vessel is done,
Darn.
I'm out.
So this is why it's greater or lesser evils. I'm doing it in a heartbeat. I'm not going to do somebody else because I'm not going to take their, like, I agree with you guys there 100%, but if it's me, I want to live forever.
Well, and
I want to
that's,
outlive the whole world.
That's good to know. So if it happens, I'm going to, like William Dafoe's face and whatnot, I'm going to try to put you back together with bacon and ketchup.
Okay.
And see, like,
just don't change what's down in this area, though.
Oh no,
Okay.
that.
All right, just don't change down there.
Right.
I can't do that. But that like, I actually think, again, well, this is going to go anime. If I had a scar going down my face because a sword cut me, which this one didn't, but and it was right here, I'd rock that all day. I'd rock it with pride. I'd be like, that's my sword.
I adore scars because something wasn't strong enough to kill me.
Makes you stronger.
I love
makes you stronger.
You know, and it's not just chicks dig scars. I think everybody in one way or another. I wear mine with pride. You know,
and they look good on you.
Hell yeah, thank you.
Do we want to double tap that? Anyone else want to add anything to that?
Actually, I don't have any scars. That's just how my face looks. So, thanks for doing that to me.
So what if you could extend their life? Would you extend their life? I mean, really, modern medicine has extended their lives anyway. Would you go to the path to just to keep them alive if it meant doing some things that might push those morals?
What do you mean, as in like
all right, so let's say that you need. So we already do all these things. You're playing perfectly into it. Yeah. We are right on the cusp. And we've watched, I think you watched, we watched the Ryle thing where they talked about cloning and George Bush and Betty and Dolly the sheep and all that stuff. If we don't stop that point in time, this happens right now. We're doing that right here, right now.
Yeah, I'd seen a couple of documentaries and things that talk about science believes that there are people alive right now that could live to be 150.
Yeah, just to... I don't mean to burst my bubbles, but they've been saying it now for like the last
20, 30, 40, 50
years, 50 or 60 years actually.
But fantasy is becoming reality, you know, with technology.
And see, that's what I want.
Blurring the line.
I legitimately want to believe what you guys are saying, like, because it is true. We now have we technically are telepathic. If we were to go back in time and try to explain, not even explain, if we were to go, let's just go to the 50s. If we went to the 50s, right now, with 2 cell phones, we went back in time to 1950, and we, with our wireless headphones.
Sorry, that's me going to the 1950s.
Exactly. Just think about your AirPods, right?
Yeah.
2 people back in the 50s with two set of AirPods, right? And let's just say we happen to have a satellite, let's call it like one satellite floating up in the sky to make sure we can actually get a communication or a tower, right?
Sure.
If they were observing us, they would think we were just telepathic, 100%. That's only 1950. Not saying technology
with like one Beats earbud in, you know, we were connected by the phone.
Exactly. And that may seem like, you know, a small thing, but if you just go back even further back to the 1800s, you go back to the 1800s and just our clothing. Just think of it this way: this shirt that I have on would be witchcraft.
Oh yeah,
looks good on you. By the way.
It drives. The whole point is like
sexy witch.
The clothes that we have on right now are what could be considered witchcraft.
So I want to correct that for that community. You would be a warlock, not a witch. So you are a male.
Exactly.
My friend. You're an alpha male.
Exactly.
You would be a warlock.
Exactly. Well, my point is,
want to make sure we don't offend the witch people. We do not need any spells.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is like, it would be considered magic because we would end up like burned on the stake, right? We would end up burning the steak.
Oh, you know why I burn it at the stake? Look, you guys would walk by and be like, well, there's nitro.
Exactly. Yeah, we would stick out like sore thumbs for sure.
And it's not even about sticking out a sore thumb. Just imagine if you were to make the clothing just like they had, but then just use our modern materials, they would think that we would be some kind of witch or warlocks because these clothes, they dry themselves. They're lined with silver. They quick dry. Think about that. Right. It went back in those times. They had it was a task, right? In order to, let's say, just dry yourself. So the same thing being exposed to the elements. Yeah. I have a longer survivability period.
Oh yeah.
Just because
you'd already be labeled because you didn't smell like boiled hot dogs.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Let's start off with.
What do boiled hot dogs smell like?
Go back to the 1950s where we came from, and you'll know. Go to the 1800s. I mean.
Yeah. I'm there right now. I don't know how I'm talking to you guys still, but I'm there. It's a valid point. I mean, The whole thing is nothing. So one of the main things too is we're going to go all the times off tangent and where there, but the tangent is actually up here. Everything is all debatable, and there's nothing off limits here. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's a valid point, and this is why we do this. Yeah. It's just that simple. This is why we do this. So one more thing with so we double tap this cloning while we go through. What if one of your loved ones did it to you? I think one of the overwhelming elements in this is choice. She was robbed choice this entire time.
Yeah.
And so how would you feel if your choice was robbed?
And I think you can even see the confusion when they talk about that. If she initially killed herself, does history repeat itself? Are you destined to constantly have, whatever that, if you tried to shorten your life, the reason you did it, how you did it? I honestly think, there would probably be a lot of anger. No different than, when somebody is told too late in their life that they were actually adopted, and now they're confused with, their mother or father who loved them, who they thought was biological the entire time. If you tell them too late, or do you never tell them at all?
Right.
Because of how it can damage a psyche. So if I brought a cloned loved one back, do I even tell them?
Would you want to be told? If you were the clone, would you? Yeah. Would you want to be told that
you wouldn't want to know?
I wouldn't want to know. Honestly.
You wouldn't want to know.
I really wouldn't. I would rather live in my own ignorance. Because ignorance is bliss.
Exactly. It's beyond bliss. So think of it this way, right? It meant even if you found out you're a clone, the first thing you're going to do? You're probably going to kill yourself. Yeah, and the reason why you're going to kill yourself because at this point there are no consequences to life.
Absolutely.
Because that someone out there has either the means or the ability to bring you back.
I have told all 3 of my dogs that they're adopted. I absolutely had to make sure that they knew right away. The keeper of the cheese, you're not actually my
keeper of the cheese.
My son or daughter. All 3 of you are.
By the way, the title of this episode may just be "The Keeper of the Cheese." So if it's down there and you don't understand it, the keeper of the cheese will know.
What else you got?
All right, so we go through the film and we talk about her choice, but she goes through everything. I mean, she's going through that point. You see her develop in front of us on the front of the screen in some very disturbing ways. I really think.
I actually don't find them disturbing at all. I find them innocent, to be honest with you. The way that she gets to her sexuality, because let's be real here. Like a very large portion of this movie is actually about her sexuality and the double standard that there is. Because when Mark Ruffalo's with her, and they don't have any money, and they're trying to get home, and she's like,
eat chocolate.
Yeah, eat this. I paid for this with my vagina. Yeah. And he's like, I can't eat the eclair.
We gotta get let's get to the scene first, but just to get there.
Well, we can touch it.
No, it's no problem. We're going right there. Just the fast forward through. Long story short, you when you watch this movie, so initially she's supposed to marry the assistant to let's call him Frankenstein, but God. Right, so God. she's supposed to marry the assistant, but instead she ends up eloping with Mark Ruffalo.
Let's dial that back just a couple scenes.
He was good at the stuff.
We got to dial back a couple of those scenes because we're showing the things that, again, I don't remember the first time that I touched myself, but I don't remember it being that dramatic.
Yeah,
as hers. Like, I mean, first of all, amazing acting job the entire way. Mm-hmm. At this point in the movie, the nudity was getting cringy to me. I didn't see it as being necessary. I was like, could you have done this scene without actually showing?
Without an apple?
Don't get me wrong, Emma Stone is absolutely gorgeous.
Without an apple?
No, even before the apple. They just lay her naked on the bed, and she's just sitting there on the bed all naked and stuff.
Well, but I think that was just the intro.
So be it. So again, if we walk in and
I really do feel like even in humanity, pleasure is your first experience that you remember.
True.
And it doesn't just have to be sexual. It could be the reason why your favorite candy is whatever, or candy apple or a marshmallow or whatever it is. The first time you experience pleasure really awakens all of the rest of your senses, and you feel like, you know, other things could be, you know, oh, now I got to try other things like a grapefruit or
Yeah, and none of us are women though. So I had to ask some of the women
a traffic cone.
a traffic cone. Wow, what if a traffic cone was sitting there on the thing? So
I'm just curious if there's going to be a part 2 of this movie.
So I want to know in the comments for any ladies there if they've ever thought, and what they, not if they've ever thought, because that's horrible. If they had to stick anything into their body to where we're talking about, what would it be? Now, we've talked to a couple different people. I've gotten cucumbers, I've gotten eggplants, not real eggplants, but Thai eggplants. I got a strawberry when I asked someone. I'm like, just the tip? I mean, the strawberry was just the tip, I guess. So, I mean, so be it. But that scene is probably the most epic. Even this scene right here where she's stabbing the cadaver because she's having fun and she's growing with that. I would do that too. I do that 100%.
Yeah.
But that's her to growing, like you said.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree. And I'm kind of jealous of her. I'm going to be honest with you. If she would have pulled out a grapefruit or a
innocence
pineapple,
and ignorance,
then
and,
no.
You know, it's the primal beginnings of like understanding. You know, is really what's going on. And how many, you know, people that have children out there, you know, the first time you saw your kid, you know, pour, you know, water or, you know, splash, and they liked it so much that they went and did it more and more and more until you got, you know, you were like, God, now I got to clean all this, you know, and get a new wife in the house. And, you know, there's so many of those things that you're watching her do that are so childlike and simplistic. They just had very serious repercussions when you look at like the type of sex, you know, being as primal, but like, oh, it's an easy way to make money. And I loved how, you know, it was okay for Mark Ruffalo's character. You know, you can have sex with, you know,
we'll go right into that. Do you have anything more? I cut you off when we talked about it.
Oh no! I was just like get everybody to the scene to where he's going. To.
Okay,
that's all.
I didn't want to cut you off.
I'm just trying to get there.
I'm going to get there.
That's
with
all
that.
we're just trying to get there.
So actually, if you want to keep on going with the movie synopsis from there.
Oh no, that's well. So eventually they end together, like Ruffalo and Bella.
Yeah.
And from that point on, Mark Ruffalo loses his mind because he's not. So So Mark Ruffalo ends up losing his mind because he has never actually been in love before, right? Mm-hmm. So this is what this movie basically goes into, right? This we'll call him like a womanizer. We want to call it womanizer.
But she's just furious jumping.
That's the whole concept. Doing. Because it's like you ever heard there's a term
feelings,
exactly.
But she's just exploring her sensations.
Funny how that works out too.
Exactly.
Because if you switch that as on a character, I'm cutting you off. Keep
no, it's all right.
Keep going. Keep going.
So it's the concept of a closed hand gets an open heart, right? And that's basically what she did. But it's not that she knew what she was doing.
Oh, she didn't know it all.
She's simply just trying to explore like the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. But he, on the other hand, was a person who's used to being pursued.
Yeah.
Because he had the money, he had the looks, he had he had the wealth.
Yeah.
To go along with it, right? So he was accustomed to women basically catering to him.
Throwing themselves.
Exactly, because also you got to think about, imagine this is the Victorian area that they got going on here because the clothes that they have on. But the point is...
Minus that skyline thing.
Yeah.
That skyline thing weirded me out. Victorian area? I didn't know if they had that you could go skyline.
Well, so that's... we can get into that later on, but the point is not about like this skyline itself. It's like we have like... There are versions of the past, long story short, that we had technology that existed that was something similar to what they had, right?
Before.
Yeah, exactly. So but eventually what ends up happening is she, like I said, he loses his mind, he gets upset. Bella, because Bella eventually ends up like growing, right? And from that point on, she ends up with what's the assistant guy. Yeah. And so it basically comes full circle, comes back around, full circle. She ends up with the assistant guy again, except for now she has a world of experience. I'm skipping something on purpose,
and we'll go back to
right
that.
now.
But
I'm skipping like a big part that's really key to this.
And we're gonna hit on that.
Exactly. Ruffalo being a punk.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So
I hate my life.
So did you get?
They can't be with you.
I will say, did you get the Ex Machina feel? The Ex Machina, the movie.
Never saw Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
I know what you're talking about.
Did you get the feel? So Ex Machina is real big about the choice. It's a
I'm familiar with the movie.
Okay.
I don't watch like anime things.
No, he's talking about the movie.
The movie.
He's talking about
The movie Ex Machina.
movie with
Isn't
the
it based off of like anime?
No, it's not.
stuff?
No.
It's just a movie. That's it.
I thought it was. Maybe I'm thinking of Aeon Flux.
No. There is an anime
Yeah.
that had Ex Machina in the title.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the point is
I'm always
that's
turned
not.
off by
That's not
anime.
it though. That's
This
not
is
it.
not.
This is just a movie called Ex Machina. Yeah.
I'll touch on it just so you.
No, I know what it is. You know, it's a robot. You know, there's
Yeah.
a girl robot and
Yeah.
did stuff. And,
But this is all about choice and humanity here. But the robot is the same thing as her. I mean, really, at the end of the day, it's a body that was brought back from the dead. They had just as much choice to life. So I get the Ex Machina feel when I was sitting there watching it a little bit too. So, like you said, the interesting thing is when she decides to go on this eloping with Mark Ruffalo, which Mark Ruffalo deserves. Best support or best actor in this. I think he kills it the entire way. His emotions, every scene. I mean, he is the demonstrative version of the most horrible man that you could imagine possible. And then on some level, he is the most self-seen and sees inside himself the entire time as well. At least I feel it comes over.
Much more depth than when he's playing the Hulk.
Yeah, well, yeah, just a little bit more.
Exactly.
Just a little bit. I think he had to slightly adjust for that role.
There's a big difference.
So her and Mark Ruffalo's characters end up eloping, and then the simp. I'm going to call him the simp because you can call him the Godwin's assistant, but he's the simp in all this. At the end of the day, he's the innocent one, but I can't put him on anything else because of what he actually goes through in this. He goes, "You're not going." She goes, "I'm going." And he loses that. Now, is he going to win that battle? Of course he's not going to win that battle anyway. But he still, at the end of the movie, wants to marry her after
All the things.
Yeah. And on some level, I guess I can see exactly where he's coming from because she doesn't know any better. Why would you want to marry someone that doesn't know any better? I mean, this is some dude that has no experience in the first place anyway. He hasn't lived life. So he's not even secure in his own masculinity, let alone fucking...
So I can't agree with you. Like, it's not so much as he's not secure in his masculinity. It's just it comes down to this movie needed a weak man. Okay, that's no other way to put it. Not saying he's weak per se. It's just that like. So I was gonna get into later on, but the movie needed like certain characters in it, and he served a purpose as being I'm not calling it a role model, but the archetype of having to.
Which archetype?
The weak man. I just
simp?
call him I can't call it simp because
Simp's not. If simp's a dirty word to YouTube, I'm sorry.
Exactly,
Like that. I don't think it is.
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay.
It's just that like he is. It's not because it's not that he's weak per se. It's just that, and it's definitely not life experience. It's just that he would be what we call a real world rational scientist today, right?
Sure. So with no experience with women,
he's dedicated his life to actually expand his mind. Even I don't know why in this movie. I will say that one thing I didn't understand why they felt the need to show that he too is an outcast. If you pay in this movie, I didn't think that was necessary because at the end of the day I thought it was gonna go back to the class and go more into that, but they didn't. But he's just a character that's necessary in order to make this movie land. That's what I call it, right? Because outside of that, he serves no real purpose. If you think about it, right? It's the same thing where I don't want to fast forward to the end of the movie, but the thing that bothered me the most about this movie, well, it's two things that bother the most. All right, and neither one of y'all touched on it so far, but the one thing that touched on me the most was that
I'm touching on you right now.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I'll touch on you too, just so you. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. No, what you got?
But it was this guy has conquered death. You know that, right? God has conquered death.
God conquered death.
God has 100% conquered death.
Bible people, look that up, please.
Yeah.
No. Okay. All right.
He has 100% conquered death. Not only has he conquered death, he has managed to pass down this skill of his to others.
Yeah.
So the question goes, she knows how to do it. Well, why didn't she bring God back in another person's body? The guy she didn't like. Remember that. That's why I left that key part out of the movie. You see I'm going this, right?
Resentment on it. So we're going to go some DNA resentment levels. We are going to hit that, my
Exactly.
friend.
And that was my entire point. I was like, it was one of those things you just go, what?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, seriously, these people have basically, they've conquered death. The immortality is now a realization in this movie. Yeah. But I'm talking through this universe, I'm gonna call it, right? It's the thing.
And the other guy that almost killed. You're talking about the guy that her first
exactly
husband,
her first husband
brings him back as the goat.
Yeah, the goat.
Perfect, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But if it was a dude doing it, it would be. We wouldn't be. That would be like something. But the fact that she does it is like her revenge on life.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
And I
exactly.
Don't clone me.
Well, you know what? If you're gonna make me into an animal, make me into a bull.
Make
I want to be a bull, a big bull.
Make me into Selma Hayek's body. Is what if you're gonna bring me back, put me in Selma Hayek.
Can we get a watermark right there? Tank Selma Hayek's body.
I know.
I will watermark that right now.
I'd never get out of the shower. Frank's still in the shower. That's right.
I'm not going to blame you. I really...
I'm going to put my consciousness in something.
Honestly, if you wanted to drop the mic there and just walk away, we would be like, well, yep, Tank did his part today. So basically, the other part that bothered me here is if I was, and we both know I'm not a father and I never will be. If I'm raising a daughter and she wants to just randomly go off in the middle of a marriage with another dude, I'm not sure if I back that. I'm not sure if that's something I can just smile and go.
That's because your current societal standards say that things like that are not okay. Well, we're not penguins.
And she seems to run into that a lot throughout the course of the other parts, right?
I think that's actually kind of some of the point of the movie is like addressing the double standard that exists in current society. where men should be able to go out there and play,
all that,
do all the sex to all the women, but then when a woman does it, you go, ew, you're so unclean. I find that to just be a nonsensical thing. I'm not sure if that's the moral, or if that's what they're trying to give you.
Right.
But seeing the reality of the reaction that a man gives a woman in a situation like that, regardless of what her IQ was at that moment in her evolution, but that double standard is very real and it exists. So I can understand why somebody wouldn't want their daughter, but at the same time, why wouldn't they want their son, to not muddy, if what holds two people together is intimacy, and if you have too much of that intimacy, you grow a callous over it, and then you have to find another way to connect, and keep a relationship alive, Right. So I really wouldn't know, like how you're explaining it there. It's really hard, to do it yourself, and the fear that comes with that as a father with a daughter, is very real, because you want her to grow up healthy and happy, and and you don't want to see her, on where I saw this movie the first time. So it is an unfortunate reality that double standard exists. The last time, when you talk about, when a man talks about, I've been with hundreds, and you go, all right, high five, and when a girl says, I've been with hundreds, you go, ew.
We've watched plenty of nights when we talk about people with numbers. I cannot stand the number thing.
Exactly.
Cannot stand the number thing.
I don't care what your body count is.
It drives me insane. Drives me insane.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
Oh, no. I was just his perspective, from a father's perspective, this movie, and I'm just going to stick to the movie per se, was that it had more to do with remember at the end of the day, he had a terrible childhood. All right. Not only a childhood.
Who's he?
He was.
Who's he?
God had a terrible childhood.
Yes.
So it had more to do with, right? One, he doesn't know what it's like to be a parent. This is his first technical experience being a parent. Mm-hmm. So even if this is his own creation, he doesn't know what's going to happen. He preferred to know that she made the decision herself, even if it's a terrible decision.
Yep.
Right.
Let me counter your point for a second. So obviously, while she's gone, well, not obviously, but in the course of the movie, while she's gone on her sexcapade around the world and making money that she'd never had until she starts making it, they make a new one. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that his stance in the new one is to be more restrictive.
Mm-hmm. No,
because he wants to be more of an experiment, more of a
observer. That's the whole point. He wants to observe.
But at the same,
this time around,
so he was slapping her down, like when she would do something wrong. The second one, there's a couple of scenes where he comes in and he goes, no, you're going to be stern. I can't have any love for her.
Exactly.
I can't have any of this. I need.
No, because that was the whole point. Remember, like this was supposed to be a science experiment. Just remember that at the end of the day, a science experiment means like you're supposed to be an executive observer to his own experiment. Instead, he got himself involved in this experiment, and because he got himself involved in this experiment,
how could you not at the same time?
It's the same. They do it all the time. I'm telling you, like science experiment. People think of these experiments as though like there's someone that cares a lot, but
he's laying with her. I mean, like he's holding her. He's doing all these emotional things that a father would do.
He didn't know that. That's what I'm telling you. He honestly did not know.
But it was inside his DNA. It's almost like it was something that he didn't know, but he knew. The same thing like why she was contemplating suicide is because that was her original body's response to the whole thing was suicide.
People get attached to their pets. They get attached to...
Do you think it's a pet or do you think it's actual love? Like he actually loves her like what a daughter's love would be?
Well, I don't think it's a daughter's love, but I definitely think it's a love of maybe a pet or it was his creation. I mean, simply put, it's his creation.
So I'm gonna make this, I think, as simplistic as possible, right? Have you ever? You know what? I'm gonna go back to my first marriage, right? My first marriage, my then she was my girlfriend at the time, didn't know how to drive, right? Now remember, I've never had a kid before, all right? But the point is that she didn't know how to drive. So what I did, I made sure that, I took her driving. I showed her, how to, swerve and everything else. I gave her like a little mini driving course, this whole deal. But there is nothing that you can feel or more proud of when you see that thing that you showed how to do something and they're doing it on their own. Yeah. They do it on their own so well that they get that driver's license. I had never in my whole life knew that I could be that happy for another individual, a single other person.
You did that.
Yeah. Because you had a hand in it. Mm-hmm. So this is the exact. So that's what I'm saying. This is from a viewpoint, and I try not to get too personal with like movies because like you don't know
That's
writer.
the whole point of this.
No, I'm saying, I'm talking about, I'm not mean personal. I'm talking about like personal with the director, right?
Which thank you for sharing, by the way, too. That was a fucking immaculate, beautiful story.
Okay.
On the same time, we had this big lug that was 6'5", 270 pounds that I tried to teach to drive a stick. Mm-hmm. And one of our jobs.
He ate the car.
And he literally he destroyed the car. It did not work, and I felt the exact opposite of what you did. So I know what it feels like on the other side.
When I say that, and that's what I'm saying. When you see that, like what you knew your teaching technique was correct.
Yep.
You knew that this happened. You knew they knew how to brake. You knew that you had showed them enough to be able to take a turn at speed, right? And then you knew that you had comfort in your mind. Yeah. That is a whole nother like level of thing. And this is what whether he wants to know. I say as I put it this way. That's why I say I wasn't being personal to with myself, but like sometimes you look at a movie and you wonder what kind of experience is behind the movie, right?
Fair.
And
what inspired it? What made it? So stuff like that.
This is just an experience. Yeah, and this is an experience where whoever wrote this, maybe they have that experience of actually having like kids or having someone they ever had to teach a skill to, so to speak, and see that they achieved that goal. But this is the reason why because he's only been life as a scientist. This is his first time actually having like a life that he's responsible for and seeing if it will grow. Because remember, this is all about whether or not this thing will be. It can exist on his own. He doesn't know what's going to happen, to be honest. That's why he doesn't want her to go anywhere. This is supposed to be a controlled experiment. An experiment got out of control. It broke the control.
I see what you're saying there, Xavier, because I do see that's where the audience went. on that journey, and you could feel the downward spiral, or what felt like a downward spiral at the moment. But then at the very end, do you think he was proud of her? When they're there and he just fades away,
Exactly.
or, however.
He was, because he saw that she was becoming him, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, like she saw that because throughout all of this.
Legacy?
No, she had the scientific mind.
Yeah, but it's legacy.
She's
Passed on his
actually
legacy.
strong. She knows how to make her own choices.
Exactly.
And she owns them.
Exactly.
And I really felt like I really liked that part of the growth.
Exactly.
And it's not like I want every woman that watches this to go like, oh, you know what? We should all go buy pizza with our panties. Like that's not what I'm trying to get women in college to think.
Yeah.
But owning and understanding yourself, and not fitting the mold.
Exactly.
Marching to your own drummer, making your own decisions, stop being sheeple, is really, especially with the fairer sex that is out there, and that's what I really think is the most compelling piece of this, and that parallel that you're trying to draw, isn't about going out there and touching everybody literally, but like this really does, I get it. I'm sexy. Do what you gotta do. Sometimes it's better to just let them finish. It's just.
I think that's a good mentality for everything with that.
I used to have a really big dog at home. Sometimes it was just better to let them finish.
So they go on this sexual journey of masculinity. I almost think you touched on it, Tank, earlier. Mark Ruffalo goes chasing a waterfall. And actually, TLC song "Waterfalls" was in the background. I was loving it because you can see the deeper and deeper he goes down, and he's like, "I've never experienced it," and he doesn't get it, and he goes further and further and further, and it gets that down to that point. And now, also one more brief thing with it, and I don't want to harp too bad on this one. Everyone that interacts in her life makes her life worse. Like everyone wants to that virgin mentality where she's so smart. She's went from that hard R to now like almost scholarly, reading through books and being able to process it. Even the old lady kind of just looks at her with just a little bit of resentment, and then her friend takes her to Alexandria to watch Poor People, which, my God, if my significant other ever goes, if I'm laying there in a pile of money and she goes, I'm going to just give this to the poor, it's not going to be a good day. When you wake up and all your money's gone, because I'm going to give it to the poor because the poor people need that money. No. But everyone that interacts in her life actually, I think, is a detriment outside of the experience. Am I wrong here? Do you not?
I think glazing over the gritty innocence. I think there's just a lot of naivety in the world for myself. Is what I actually took from that. The naivety of her was driving her learning. Wanting to learn more, and there's not a lot of people out there that are willing to protect you. She meets a madam, and that madam shows her how to use her body to survive.
Because that's all she knew.
It's all she knew.
Yeah.
Exactly. And she's like, well, I kind of like sex anyway, so like, if they're gonna pay me, to put it in A, B, or C, then why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Make enough to get a mansion, and buy my man a hot dog. It's teeny with your sex. Just
look. If I'm starving and someone brings me a sex hot dog, I'm gonna eat the sex hot dog.
That's what I'm saying.
I
love my girlfriend to feed me with her body. Kidding me?
So I want to touch on that while you're going with that. I think we bring in a perfect example with OnlyFans there. Before we go back through that, I guess. Okay.
What's OnlyFans? I'm sorry, I just have to.
So I googled it.
I know what OnlyFans is. I'm totally kidding.
Yeah, I had to Google it, and I guess it's this place on the internet where people go, and I guess some of them take their clothes off and do things.
Huh?
Yeah, I know, and they charge people money for it.
Exactly.
So,
really?
This is only the glorification. If she could do an OnlyFans, she was going to do an OnlyFans.
Oh, no question. I think even on accident, she would have, I think actually I've on accident done OnlyFans a couple of times. I've left my webcam on and I went back to my account. There was
We
like
will
an
post
extra-
those links at the bottom
Yeah,
of his, so
the
we'll post
extra
them at the bottom.
$9.95 was in my account.
Look, that's $10 you didn't have.
I was just trying to tie my shoes, I swear.
So-
that's all I was really doing. But even with that, like I think even as far as like OnlyFans, if you're exploring or living or you're figuring out, if people want to see what you're willing to sell, I find no problem whatsoever with earning your own way, whatever way you can. And there's a reason why Willem Dafoe makes millions of dollars either. He's not Brad Pitt. There is a
He is a savant, though. That man is an amazing actor.
Yes, he is.
right. Well, it's just like I already made fun of Billy Bob Thornton. Who's Steve Buscemi is another one of those
Buscemi,
guys that is
Again,
not
amazing
exactly a
actor.
handsome man.
No, but fits every
but
role perfectly.
Somebody thinks he's incredibly handsome. Otherwise, he would not have been married.
Exactly.
He probably
There
has
is
a gorgeous wife,
somebody
too.
for everybody, and I'm sure there's other people even on OnlyFans that have met their significant others that way. You never know where you're gonna find the way that you become complete.
Exactly.
Whether it's with a person or a fan base or a job or living somewhere, and you go, oh, this is home somewhere. But even for somewhere like OnlyFans, you found somewhere that you belong. It's not about exploitation. The way that you think, and that's why, watching Emma Stone bare her soul to us, in a movie like this, I would love to meet her and tell, and joke and be like, oh, I almost tore my rotator cuff. I watched that scene so many times. No, I didn't just sit there. Dude, I was completely mesmerized, by every aspect of what she did in this. And if she does not win an Oscar for this movie, I know it's early in the year. Or is it late in the year for a movie?
April.
It's late in the year for
April
movies?
is the Academy Awards. April.
For last year's...
No, they're nominated right now.
Okay.
You're nominated right now.
Okay. This needs attention. It absolutely, of all the movies, and this is with like Oppenheimer.
Yep.
And even Barbie. I think we should probably talk about Barbie.
I think we probably will.
But this movie specifically, if you think any of that nudity was exploitative, you missed the point of something like this. This was not like because I think Sharon Stone should have won an Oscar too when she did the thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Like that was, I think that was pretty awesome.
But that really wasn't.
I did almost tear my rotator cuff watching Sharon Stone in that movie.
Yeah, but
I have hit the pause
that was
button
a
a few
necessary
times.
scene though. But that actually was
absolutely.
a necessary scene to the movie
I
because
believe
you had to show that this person
Yeah.
had no filter.
Oh, absolutely.
They had no boundaries.
You know who gets
Yeah.
the least amount of credit in that scene to me? Wayne
chair?
Newton.
Oh,
no, Wayne. No, yeah, Wayne Newton's character.
Exactly.
He looks like
Character.
he looks like
He
a
was
perfect man with the creeper.
Exactly.
Oh
Yeah.
my. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kills it.
Yeah.
You know
Kills
who's
it.
talk Wayne Newton?
Yeah,
Dr.
I know
Seinfeld?
who Wayne Newton is.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. That's the cookie, right? I love Wayne Newton's. So, what were you saying?
Yeah, you were talking about how she deserved an Oscar.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
100%.
100%.
We'll touch that
That's
later.
where my vote goes.
I got to bring this up. Look, I wanted her to punch the baby. When she's in that scene and she's sitting there and she's, I got to go punch that baby. I stood up clapping.
They should have shown it.
I was going to be like, yes, that's what I've always wanted to do. For you parents out there, I'm sorry.
I'm glad they didn't show her punch the baby,
No,
and I
of
am
course
glad
not.
that
No, of course not.
the society, obviously, I love that she said it because a lot of people do think about like the things that annoy you. A little bit of violence would probably end the thing that annoys you. I thought that was very innocent.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a very natural reaction for somebody in that type of situation. Be like, somebody punched them. It's like hitting your TV. Like to turn it off or, like shut that dog up over there and throw a rock at it, but you can't do that with babies.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know that, she with her limited exposure to the world.
Punch that baby.
Right. I'm going to go over there and punch that baby. I think it was a really brilliant piece of writing because many people have thought like that about, not just babies, toddlers, especially in restaurants, barking dogs, all kinds of.
I think, just saying right now, if anybody's listening to this, okay?
Everyone's listening to this.
We're not, no one is talking about actual punching babies.
No.
Okay? Just saying that. Think about it for a second. Don't get too sensitive. Just saying it right. No one is saying.
I would never punch a baby. I would never support punching a baby.
This is just about.
Yeah.
This is
the
about
views
a
of
fictitious
Nitro
movie.
do not necessarily reflect those of the rest of the cast.
This is a fictitious movie in a fictitious scenario.
Yeah.
Okay?
He's been canceled 3 or 4 times already.
Okay.
Fictitious movie,
right about
fictitious
this
scenario.
time in the whole podcast,
Right.
I'll say no babies were harmed during the filming of this podcast.
That's probably best.
That we'll put that in there. So outside of that, Mark Ruffalo goes through his this is the interesting character, or the interesting thing with the character villain Mark Ruffalo. It's almost like he turns into a woman, then turns into a man, then turns into a more aggressive man, then goes back to a woman. Like, he's playing like 4 or 5 different people all in the same. His arc of emotional development, or desensitizing himself, or just seeing the outside world, he walks away with a whole different other perspective that he's never going to have, or never would have thought he would ever had his entire life before meeting this woman.
I felt he was a bit hammy. I felt he was a little bit over the top, but I think it was necessary for.
I think the role was necessary.
Yeah,
that's the whole
100%.
Point. It was supposed to be that way. That's what I was gonna say. It was supposed to be.
Yeah,
because he's not playing.
Women can't be like this.
Exactly. Like you want him to be the whiny kind of the whiny man who also feels as though he's in charge. But reality being, he was never in charge. The shoe
was on the other foot.
Exactly.
Here he is now going like, ew.
Yeah.
It's all tainted.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you notice that Nitro keeps referring back to Mark Ruffalo, the reason why is because Mark Ruffalo plays a huge role in this movie. Like, the movie doesn't move forward without Mark Ruffalo. I'll say 80% of this movie actually is Mark Ruffalo. So that I can understand why
the transitions.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm with you. He's the perfect part of every single one of her transitions, where she escalates to that next level. Person he's a part of.
Exactly.
Now, she accomplishes on her own. I don't want to negate her not growing and her not doing it herself, but Mark Ruffalo is, when she's up, he's down.
Well, because that's what I'm saying. That's the character. So she is. If you pay attention to the movie, she's actually bouncing her ideas off of Mark Ruffalo.
Yes.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Right? Because
and he's kind of instigating along the
he's
way.
He's making this happen.
But after he touched those butterfly wings and she became the monster, he lost control.
Exactly.
And you can feel it in his character when he's just like, I don't need to be clear.
Exactly.
He was born with your furious
he knew he had 100% lost. That was it. He was just was 100% out of control.
Yep.
He no longer could control the monster anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what that was about.
And that's fair. And like I said, his whole world's now been shattered. He'll never be the same again. Most of the characters in this, which is the coin of a good movie. But honestly, when she's doing the prostitution, again, the oldest profession in the world, it's almost like she decides to go, these women are doing it this way, I'm going to up my game. And she did it in ways that no one else was doing to that point. Almost like she Michael Jordan. She was the Michael Jordan of prostitution.
But it was kind of like homework. She was comparing all those men to the furious jumping that she did with Mark Ruffalo, and was that's why I say, that one's no good. That one's no good.
That's why Mark Ruffalo was such a main character. That's he was the base. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was the base for all of it.
He needs an actor. She needs an Oscar. There's tons. We'll talk about that towards the end. But you did say the monster, and to me, the monster in her roots through, and we're going to go through the story. She leaves Mark Ruffalo. She does some prostitution things. She goes back home. Her God's about ready to die. Look, if God's ready to die, the whole society's going to end anyway, right? But she goes back home, and then all of a sudden, there's just a jerker in there. The husband that she was once with, that made her commit suicide, comes in her life and implants herself.
Yep.
Now, in his brief role, if we could make the worst man possible in life, that dude did it. He nailed that role.
He checked every box, and that was the whole point. Like I said before, this is still, that's what I say all the time. This is the drawback to this movie, is that you ask yourself the question: was this necessary to a degree?
Yeah.
Right. And did you need to have the worst human being,
Yes.
the worst man, like necessary in order to reflect just how far you've come along?
Yep.
But then, because
what I like about that is
Yeah.
because it actually shows the two extremes. So for I do think it was very necessary, and they did that, in the perfect time, at the in the perfect moment,
because she had to be trapped.
she had to be.
She had to be trapped.
Yes,
exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and then it's just, I don't want to beat that dead, but that was perfect. And then she goes through her arc with that, and we talk about the monster becoming the monster. I'm going to wrap that up back through and go back through the story. She goes home, as we talked about, she takes on her father's legacy, she marries the simp, and she lives a happy life. But we brought up the goat scene, and to me, it's almost like she's become what God wanted her to, but then whoever she originally was, the resentment that allowed her to turn him into a goat started to make her, like, if we go, this is my thing, monster versus monster.
It's revenge. I think revenge.
Fair, but let's go 10 years, 20 years in the future.
Right.
Does she do that to someone else now?
No, I don't. Honestly, I don't think that was the arc that you're seeing there at all. This is somebody that was wronged, and if she's starting to understand that you were the one that pushed me to that brink, like, this is his karma, his suffering alone. I don't think that it's just her being a monster and going like, oh, you know what? I can make this person a goat, and then the next person that forgets to put caramel on my coffee, I'm going to turn into a chicken. I don't think it was that at all. I think this was very specialized revenge and giving somebody their comeuppance is basically what that is. I don't think it was actually a prelude. Into
to
her,
more? You don't think she goes deeper into monster?
I don't.
Think she's a one-off and just done?
I think she's surrounded by the women, her friends that she wanted, and I think it's actually a happily ever after.
That was a happily ever after ending. That's the best way to put it. That's what it was.
Really felt like it was to me too, and she got to relish in the fact that the person that wronged her the most, that put her in that situation in the first place, wasn't actually God. It was her partner, and to be able to get her revenge and to be able to, have her closure at the same time, accept who she is now, the baby inside the mom,
right?
With the second chance, I think is actually, pretty empowering.
Yeah. No, it's fair.
So what we didn't touch on, and this was, like I said, I had two things
I want to hear
like bothered me most about this movie. All right. So I wanted to make sure you guys got everything you wanted out. Just saying it right now.
I got most of it.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing that really bothered me about this movie was it's the thing that's looking at you and it's staring at you in the face, but you just kind of like trying to glaze over it, which is it's a baby. You get that, right? This entire movie is a baby.
Yes, that is correct.
At the most, like this, the one thing that bothered me most was the timeline itself.
Yeah.
I was trying to like rationalize the timeline as I'm watching this movie.
So,
all right. So my guesstimation would be, if we had to say this, 7 years old? Let's say 7 to 8.
No, much younger.
No. So
by the end of the movie, the mentality?
No, not mentality. Because remember, what really. So I'm not gonna go into mentality part. What I'm going into is experience part. So experience-wise, like she could have been a 20-year-old. So if you ever, so I'm gonna reference another channel here, right? Which is if you watch Soft White Underbelly. All right, I have no problem at liking Soft White Underbelly. I know I had said before I don't like referencing other things, but Soft White Underbelly. I don't know what you're talking about. Exactly. There's this guy, he interviews other people, all right? And he interviews not only very interesting people in the world, but especially prostitutes, all right? One thing you learn...
I think I know what you're talking about. You showed me a couple of
Exactly, yeah. So if
those are very gritty.
It's very gritty, but what you learn is that, like, if you were to someone to tell you that you found this nice-looking very humble looking, 20-year-old like woman.
Yeah.
Right. You had never known anything about her life. You say, oh, she seems like a pretty, not pretty. She's nice and everything else. But then you find out she has 3 kids. All right. She's had 3 kids.
Yeah.
Not only she has 3 kids, she's also been with, I don't know, an easy number 10,000 like men, right? Easily 10,000, right?
Yeah.
Now, this puts experience on you whether you want to or not. This ages you.
Yeah.
No matter what anybody says. So my point being is that the thing that got me with this movie was that like I was trying to like first of all get a timeline as how old I think she was in this movie. So let's say
mentally.
No, like I'm calling
physically.
So if this turned into a physical like thing, you see I'm going with this, right? This is the part of the movie that I think
we do not condone child sexuality.
No.
Well,
You can't.
I don't think
you can't
that was
say
the
that.
point of this movie.
No, I'm not
Right.
saying that.
No,
I'm not saying
I got that.
I think that
I'm
was
just
the
throwing
point
that out there.
of
So
any of that
Exactly,
at all.
and that's my exact point to this movie. And I think that was the problem that I had the most because they nailed the cinematography. They got the characters down. I understand like Emma Stone and the whole deal, but the way I put it this way, right? You know what got me the most is that like I thought they would at least allow her to be able to walk correctly, right? You get
that bothers you.
No.
I actually like that you brought that up.
Remember,
Towards the end.
She never walks properly.
No, she does.
Yeah.
She's still got that little bit of
Yeah.
No. She walked properly at the end of the movie.
Towards the end.
Yeah, exactly. She
Really?
was. Yes.
Yeah.
She was a normal walker by the end of the movie.
And
What?
I just think like, even, it's an infant brain, obviously, but you have to pull the story along as fast as you can.
And that's what I'm saying. But my point was
get that mind to mature.
mature. Yeah. So what I was hoping in this movie is that they were going to find a way to, let's call it fast pace or age, so to speak. Let's give it like the most.
Did you want a montage?
I would have. This is one movie that legitimately needed a montage.
Well, I thought they did have a furious jumping montage.
Yeah, that's the point. But she was still 4. I'm just saying.
Well, 4 up here.
No, not that. But I mean, she was that at that thing. That's what I'm saying.
So even listening to you talk about that, I tried to keep that cringe level
You
out.
see what I'm-
and the cringiness is coming through my soul
And that's
a little
my
bit
exact
while I'm
point.
listening.
And I was
So I
like,
get where
what
you're going
is
with
this?
it.
Yeah, because that was my whole point. I was like, what was the point of this? You're like, I really imagine if you built. The best way to put this is that they built the pyramids, right? They built the Giza pyramid on top of the Taj Mahal, on top of what the foundation to this is though. Mm-hmm. It's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. All right.
You know what I'm picturing? Like I'm picturing it like. Can you imagine the Sphinx like this?
And that's what I'm saying,
all
right?
The marbles, yeah.
It's all. That's what I'm saying. It's all pretty. It's all a story, but the thing that is right there, it's right in your face, and it's like
thorn in your side.
I can't, and maybe it's just. I want to say it's because I'm old. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say it's because I'm an old guy. I have no problem saying
He's
that.
really 21.
That's what I'm saying. I have no problem saying that, but because everything about this movie is a good movie. I mean that. Everything about the movie is a good movie. This movie, I have no problem. This movie is art. This is art incarnate. This movie itself is art. The fact that we can discuss all these different aspects of the movie, this is art incarnate. But the problem of this movie, you can't get over it, is how old is she? That's the issue that I have at the end of this movie. How old is she?
Does age matter?
I wonder. Well, sure.
Yes,
absolutely matters.
Yes, it does.
It certainly matters in a court of law. It matters all over the place.
Even like back then, even back in the day, there was an age limit. That's what I remember that.
I wonder, as this movie is gathered steam, $35 million, $35 million budget. It's already over $100 million.
Over $100 million,
And artsy movies don't make that money.
Not typically.
No, they don't.
And what I really like because this is an artsy movie, though, that the mainstream is understanding it. The mainstream is watching it.
Yes.
But when you bring up a point like that, it makes me wonder how many others in that category it bothered them too.
Yeah.
I glazed over
If
that.
it did
honestly,
bother you, like in the comments below.
because
Talk.
as they moved her forward, I figured she was out of her, when she was done baby stepping. She's done baby stepping.
That's my whole point.
She's a teenager when she touches herself, because at puberty is when we figured out, like, well, if I shake this enough time, something
Right.
feels really good.
But this is what I mean, right? So I thought the purpose of the assistant,
and then when she got her job,
was to
she's got to be 18-ish.
See
20.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
And then when she decides she doesn't like this guy, she's probably somewhere around 30.
And that's what I'm saying. Like so that's what I mean. This is what we have: reality versus because this is what I thought the assistant was supposed to. The assistant was supposed to serve. I call it as a time stamp, right? Mm-hmm. So if he had started getting gray hair as he was observing her, I would have been okay with it. You see I'm going this, right? Mm-hmm. But instead he didn't get gray. He liked her as a child.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was the whole issue.
Well, he liked her. I don't know if that's fair.
No, I'm not.
Because
beauty is the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the day you created something it's newborn.
Right.
So even though it had the body of 25 or let's say 25.
Yeah.
But the day you created it, it's 0. It's 1.
Right.
I don't, and that's why I don't know if it's fair. Even though it had the mind of an infant, but it was, obviously past puberty.
Let me pose this question.
Puberty.
Let me pose this question to both of you. At what point did she actually?
So I don't know how I feel about that when you bring that up to me.
And now you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, let's go with this.
And I hope other people in the audience, because you're provoking a thought, along the way, and how many other people actually tuned in to something like that, because I honestly glazed over it.
When did she actually consent? That's my question. When in this entire movie did she actually have the ability to consent to what she was actually doing?
Probably
what do you mean?
Never. When you're talking like the mental capacity to consent.
And that's what I'm bringing up. That's what me sitting here listening to you guys talk.
Honestly,
when did we have consent?
And she's just kind of being led across this path, but she does win. Mm-hmm. I do think at the end she does win.
No, that's a different story. I'm saying, like, end of the day, she still won. That's what I'm saying, right? That's just a good storytelling.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, I agree 100%.
Yeah, that's a good storytelling. But like I said, there could have been some other condition that they could have thrown in there. You get what I mean, right?
Like what?
Like for instance, they found a 12-year-old. You get what I'm saying? That had also drowned. He decided to
Wouldn't that have been creepy? It's like in Megan. Megan creeps me out because I'm somewhat weirdly. I shouldn't be attracted to her, so much, but I'm a little attracted to her.
I love Megan so much because it's a girl Chucky, a girl killer doll. I don't. The way you said it is creepy. Hey, Chris Hansen, if you're out there, come over and tell him to have a seat with you somewhere over there, because. But I understand. I understand what you're saying about the strange attractions.
Yeah.
And some of those things, like even for Bella's character, the strange attraction that she had to the sensation of pleasure, the feeling of pleasure. And for me, it wasn't about her in a kind of innocent or ignorant way of approaching it. I think it was more of a fearless way, of getting something, in the simplest terms, I give you this and you give me that. It's a trade to get to where you want to be, where you really want to be, because I don't think, at first it was like kind of an experiment for her, and then she realizes they all come in different shapes and sizes, and every once in a while you might find a unicorn.
And she had a woman. She had a woman. She had a woman too. So I mean, So
where she's like, it's like spaghetti.
Yeah, she's doing all that with it. What's your second one?
Oh no, I brought it up. That was the. Yeah. She could have saved her dad. She could have.
I mean, these are again. Frank said these are points that this is why we do this, so you actually sit down and you think. That's what movies are. Real cinema is about portraying stories based on real life, based on the ability to go back and forth and actually have formative talks about that. And hopefully you guys are doing the same while we talk. Please, we're interactive here.
Yeah.
Leave your comments at the bottom. And we'll always talk about things that we are here for everybody.
That's what I really kind of took away from this movie, you know, and I don't think it was speaking to one gender specifically. It just happened to be a strong female character. But, you know, don't be afraid of life. You know, life is going to take you places, you know, and it's hard to say how you're going to get to your happy ending, you know, but I think this was a really gritty, just from start to finish, amazing movie, you know, of struggle and triumph. You know, I think every piece of that, you know, was explored in this movie, and I hope it does incredibly well. You know, like Mad Max won like 6 or whatever it was. Yeah. You know, I hope a movie like this, for being artsy, I think, you know, without dumbing it down and mansplaining or womansplaining to anybody, you know, like what you're supposed to be feeling here, I really feel like those feelings came across in each of the acts.
Fair. I love it. So at least I didn't have to transition from consent to this next part, because that would have been absolutely horrible, and I get the assessment of Frank of the movie here. We're going to the Rainboner of Power. You can see it posted up on your screen right now. This is a scale that we're going to base every movie that we see on. I'm sure there's no innuendo insinuated in this. If you see one, I'm not sure what you see. So we're going to go start with Xavier. Based on your positioning of the Rainbow of Boner of Power, where do you see this movie falling and why?
I put it in the.
I'll let you think about that.
No, I would say
go ahead.
let's call it sensational.
You think it's sensational?
Yeah, let's call it sensational.
Really, that low based on everything that we've seen to this point?
Because, like I said, there are a lot of rough edges in this movie that could have been smoothed out, but they chose to go this way. I have no problem with them going that way. All right. But the issue is, like I said before, it's built on Leaning Tower of Pisa. That's like, that bothers me.
That kind of looks like Leaning Tower of Pisa.
I know. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I was like, it bothers me. That's the part with this movie.
Yeah.
Because I'll say at the most, I'll say is at the most astonishing, but the way I see it, I see sensational. If I have to.
Okay, it's your opinion.
See this,
no, yeah. I got you. Tankalicious, what you got?
So, you know, you're actually going to be pretty surprised, even as much as I've praised this movie. I agree with Xavier. Just a little better than that. I think it's actually an astonishing movie. I think it's an 8 out of 10. I don't think I've ever actually seen a movie unlike when I was a child and like Return of the Jedi and like, oh my God, and, you know. Because I can always tell when they use real spaceships in movies, you know, like it's one of those kind of things that, you know, sitting here, I think it had mature content. I think it resonates with audiences, but I don't think I've ever actually seen a movie that I would ever give a 10 out of 10, you know. So if we do find one as this, you know, as these podcasts continue to move forward, you know, if something hits flawless perfection, I can't wait to see what it is, you know. But a movie this great, I do think is astonishing. I think it's something that you know every walk of life can relate to. I think it's something that every gender can relate to because it has pieces of situations that I think are hard to tackle, easy to ignore. You know, but at the same time are necessary, you know, to give people, you know, even in a fantasy style platform, you know, it's still a real world subject, you know, and that's why I think it's, you know, important. I think it's important to watch a movie like this.
I think it's going to redefine. So, you have anything more on your sensational review?
You didn't give it a rating.
I'm going
Where
to.
are you going with it?
So, I'm near the tip. It's definitely not flawless perfection. I'm with you. There's a couple and we can debate what flawless protection actually is. I'm on the line between immaculate and astonishing. So here's my purpose.
Wow.
You literally look at everything that movies gave us. It gave us a full arc. Very rare in modern cinema. Wow. Do we get that full arc where we get the full development of the character and it actually rationally makes sense in there? Like, I don't like to put numbers on it, like I said, but it's right on the line between the two of it. It's going to win Best Actress, Best Picture, Best Actor. It's going to win all those makeup and design, costume and cinematography. And I'm not minimizing those awards, but there's only one movie that would be close to that to me that I've seen so far that we haven't reviewed, but I'm sure we'll review eventually. But yeah, to me, that's the line. So if we're splitting, we'll call it a roundation of astonishing between us. That'll be our average. That'll be the group consensus going forward in between the middle. But like I said, I've never seen a movie like this, and I think that's Do you guys got anything else?
I would say sensational. I'm gonna stick with that.
I'm good with you. I'm good. No, I'm not forcing you. I actually enjoy that you don't. We are all going to bring something different to when we watch these movies at the same time. Different things can hit with me. You know, if there's a montage, I'm going to sing to it. I mean, if we review the movie the movie Barbie, if we ever do that, I'm going to be singing, I'm just Ken. So, I mean, look, that's just going to be enough for me. So, okay. I mean, we're all going to see different things in different places anyway. But with that being said, every cycle that we evaluate, we're going to move forward to our best of list, and our best of is just our rankings of all the movies combined together. So there's no movie to put up here, so we'll slide in Poor Things with an average of a sensational rating, okay,
all right,
we'll call it sensational / astonishing. No. We'll slide that in right now, and then we'll evaluate everything else. Other than that, guys, this is our inaugural podcast. Knocked it out of the park. As always, we appreciate all of our viewers. Please interact below. If you liked anything that we did to this point, smash that subscribe button and leave comments. We are here for you. And that's it.
Thanks, y'all.
All right. See you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings the program to its unfortunate end. If you liked or hated it so much you can't wait to see what we say next, smash that subscribe and like button. Join the family. Join the ride.